So, kampai, that
Cheers.
means pretty much cheers in Japanese.
You're gonna use some English today.
Whatever. Um, so, what I have here is a chai for my tea time in Braxton. What do you have in your cup?
Some of that good old H2O ski.
Okay, some water.
Yeah.
Let me get one more. Because that's good. You know, whenever I have chai, I have my chai together cup, which is a community of pretty much some good people. All right. So today I was thinking about wisdom. As I'm sitting in my thinking chair thinking about the things I think about, I was thinking about wisdom and how we need to really call upon God for godly wisdom in situations. When you think big,
Right.
when you think big and you think according to your vision, we find ourselves in the situations where we don't know what's beyond what's in front of us
For sure.
because the vision is so big, and God calls other people to come alongside of us and to lead them and guide them, or just to find ourselves in situations where God has put us in. We can't get out of it on just conventional, I'm a smart guy.
I can figure this out on my own.
Yeah. So, reminds me of a story I read of this missionary. He went to a faraway place. I don't know if it was Africa or Asia or somewhere. But he preached the gospel, and God led him there. I mean, God led him there, and he did what God called him to do. So he's preaching and he's preaching and he's preaching, and he's preaching to this village, and this village is the chief is like, I understand, and he felt good about it. The next morning, as he got up, he was going on his way, and all of the village came to his hut where he was staying at. And the village chief was like, I want to give my life to Christ. We all want to give our lives to Christ. And you know, hallelujah, everybody celebrating and everything. He's like,
Praise God.
in honor of you coming to our village, we're going to have you. We're going to set up the feast of the flying fox for you.
Ain't never heard
And
no flying fox.
you know, everybody's like, oh, it's a really, really big deal. That's an honor. You know, nobody gets the feast of the flying fox. So he's like, oh, that's awesome. But you know, in his mind, he's like, foxes don't fly.
Right. Yeah.
Are they gonna kill a fox and prepare it?
And then put him on a Delta flight.
No, I don't know. He's wondering what this feast of flying fox is. So he's watching them, you know, start to prepare for the feast of the flying fox. And if you know about flying foxes or foxes in countries where they are, what do you think of flying foxes?
Think of a Dr. Seuss book.
Okay, well, it's a bat.
Oh.
It's a bat, and
Yikes.
you know, in other countries, bats are pretty large, so they call it a flying fox when it translates. And so they were preparing the bat, and in this village, to prepare a bat, they take the bat, they don't debone it, they don't defur it, they don't skin it. It goes in a pot of boiling water whole with seasoning, spices, and stuff.
Delicious. Yummy.
And you know, he's like, He's not very. He doesn't want. He just got these people to Christ. He don't want to just like.
Ship 'em.
I ain't eating that.
Yeah. Cause they don't play like that. It's like being disrespectful.
Yeah.
Yeah. This great honor, you're like, nah, I'm good, fam.
So this is what he did. This is what he did. He prayed. He said, he prayed and he was, God, how I don't want to be a part of this. Could you please help me? And God was pretty much just like, I got you. And they boiled the bat, and he's sweating bullets, and they're all at the table. And he looked around. He said, I know God got me. He looked around the table, and his translator was highlighted, a glow. And he looked at him, and that was his answer. So this is how he got out of it. All right. There was like, in honor of you and us coming to Christ, we want you to participate in this the Feast of the Flying Fox. And he said, I am not worthy of this meal. But you know who is? My translator. And he said, if it wasn't for this translator, if it wasn't for my friend, I would never have found this village. If it wasn't for my friend, I could not have preached the gospel and you be saved by the glory of God.
Right.
If it wasn't for my friend here. He is worthy. Two things happened. The translator broke down and cried. That was the biggest honor he ever had because he was part of that culture. The Feast of the Flying Fox was for like dignitaries, for like the president, and he said that he was worthy of it. So he broke down crying, and he's just like, I've never been so honored in my entire life. And the whole village was like, this is truly a man of God, because nobody would ever give up the Feast of the Flying Fox. So they just like, this man must be humble and special. The translator? This man is special. This man is honorable. And I was thinking of that, and I was like, does God lead you according to your vision, or what God gives you? Does he lead you into situations where, let's put it this way. First off, and this is my reflection time. Am I calling on God's wisdom in my everyday practices, in my everyday situations? Am I another thing is, am I thinking so small that I don't need God? I don't need help. I'm gonna tell you that when we get into our vision and we start doing big things, we start asking God for God's help. He starts to set things up. He starts to open doors for us. And when we walk through those doors, we don't know what's on the other side of it. It could be scary, but if you know who's leading you through the door, it's not scary. I'm not saying it's a walk in the park, but it's not scary. I was thinking about this too. I read another story about a door, and a guy who had cancer was talking to the doctor, and he was like, "Doc, I fear death. Can you ease this fear by telling me what's on the other side of death?" And the doctor was like, "I don't know."
Go figure.
Never tried
Never
it.
tried it.
So he started going off. He was like, "How you call yourself a Christian and you can't tell me about what's on the other side of death?" And like I said, I don't know. But he's like, "I'm gonna tell you what." He was walking him to the door, and he opened the door, and the man's dog ran inside and jumped on him, jumped on the doctor. And he was like, I don't know what's on the other side, but you see my dog here. The dog did not know what was on the other side of this door. All he knew was that his master was on this side of the door. When I opened the door, he had no idea that all these instruments could just mess him up. He had no idea
turn to a frog.
who might be in here.
Yeah.
He didn't know anything. All he knew that his master was on the other side of the door, and when I opened the door, he ran through. So to be fearful on the other side, all he was saying that I don't really fear the other side. All I know is that my master is on the other side, and on the other side, that's all that matters. So, as we're thinking throughout this week, of all the things God is setting up for us and leading us through, what do I mean, really ask for wisdom? So, our thinking is so finite, and we do things on our own, saying, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this. And when we get ourselves into situations, we try to figure it out. If we're being led, some things God sets us up for, we can't figure out on our own. So we have to call on that wisdom, and as that wisdom comes through, it benefits everybody. If you look at the story of the Feast of the Flying Fox, everybody benefited. That's God. So, thinking about your reflection and my reflection throughout this week, like I said, I want you to really sit down and think.
I actually have a quick question.
Go ahead.
So, when would you use your own God-given intellect in situations versus just going directly to using His wisdom? Because He did give it to us for a reason, so I feel like we should utilize it to some extent while relying on God solely as well.
Well, you just answered your own question then.
What you mean?
If you
I'm saying, like, He gave it to us to use, so where's that line between us using our own and then us using His?
well, this is my opinion. If I'm thinking, if you think about things, say God gave me a vision to do something, and I take that vision and I run with it. Say like Abraham, God said, you're going to have many kids. Abraham said, right.
I said, bet. You know what? Where's she at? Come here.
So when it didn't really start working out as soon as God said it, or as soon as it wasn't going fast enough for him, he used his own intellect, and he said, well, he listened to Sarah. Sarah said, once you, maybe if you sleep with the maid, that'll be our kid. And he's like, okay. When we start going day to day, and I'm saying God gave me, I'm smart. Like I said, I'm smart. There's a difference between saying I'm using what God gave me and actually leaning on God every day. So you asking, when should we use our own? You're always going to default to that because it's you. But here's the but. those who in Proverbs it says like lean not unto your own understanding because it's here
Oh, okay. So
and
it's not.
he
It's on the
directs our
physical plane.
paths.
Yeah.
He directs our paths according to how he's setting things up. So if I wake up and I say I'm gonna do this, that's good. It's good to have a plan, but it's even better to say, God, what are we gonna do today? And I wait for an answer. And when I get the answer, I do it. That's going to produce more godly fruit than me trying to do it on my own in God's name.
Okay.
Okay?
Wow.
So I can say I'm going to do this, and do nothing, which is more mainly
Man, that
every
happens.
day.
Yeah. Oh dang! You know, I said I'm finna get this whole list accomplished. You know, doing one thing and being like, you know what? It's been a wonderful day. Let's call it one.
Yeah. Or I can just say, well, God, open doors. Show me the doors that you're opening. Let me hear what you're doing. Let me see what you're doing. And help me to make it through it.
And don't let me miss it. Whatever you do, don't let me miss it.
So always being a constant leaning on God. I need this. I need your help with this. I need your help with this. I need your help. So much so it's just like, here, will you just do something on your own? But I'm leaning on you for everything. That way, those open doors, just that wisdom, when a situation comes up, you could have handled it on your own, maybe, and maybe you will. But there's some situations that we get our results that are man-made results, and then we get God-sized results that everybody benefits, and not just us. Because we're going to think I'm looking out for the number one right here, me.
Big dog, not the little one.
So, but God, when he sets things up, everybody benefits.
That's fair. And that's how you know God did it when everybody wins.
Yeah, especially because you wouldn't have did it you wouldn't have set it up for everybody. It would have been a nice gesture. But most people don't think along those lines where everybody benefits.
Right. That's some real boss mentality though. Like, you know what? I run this, so I'm gonna make sure everybody good. Like that's big G right there.
Yep.
You can appreciate that for sure. And so what does leaning on God's wisdom look like? Is that you just talking out loud? Are you in your secret place? Like what does that look like?
For me,
in a physical space.
For me, I talk out loud. I don't care.
Hey, they see this man walking down the street. They like, oh, Jeff, it must have been that chai tea that got him going like that.
I say that because, for me, and what I've taught y'all all growing up is prayer is a two-way communication. So if it's out loud or if it's, on my knees begging, it's a two-way communication. So I'm praying and I'm listening. And I'm praying, I'm listening. Now, sometimes I'll pray, am I to go through this door? And I listen and I don't hear anything. Sometimes I need to be still. Sometimes it doesn't just automatically come. But a lot of times it will. And the more in tune, if you use I don't know if you remember talk strategy, which is turn-based, and we'll have to go over that some other time. But talk strategy, where you're listening and you keep it going, you're taking action, you're tuning in, you're listening, and when you get the answer, you act on it. There's a point where the answer comes and you know it came, and you say, "Was that God?" And you just wait. I'm still waiting on the answer. And he's like, man, I just gave it to you like 15 times, man. What you gonna do?
Yeah. And I was like, bro, you got to make a move after this one.
So once the more in tune to the easier it gets to hear and to act on it.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Like, the more you listen, the more you'll be able to understand his voice and execute whatever he's telling you to do.
Yep. Even if it goes against what you thought he was going to say.
That's where you that's where you really have to trust and have that faith that, you know what, all right, God, your will be done, not mine.
Hmm.
And it is what it is at that point. So
Because a lot of times we'll ask and say, well, scripture says this, and I know you want this to happen, so I'm praying according to your will. Even though we have our own motives on the backside of it. But like I said, God usually works for everybody benefits. And not just everybody, but mainly he gets the glory from giving you the vision and you praying on that vision. So if my vision was to change all of Statesboro, when I pray and he gives me something to do, it benefits all of Statesboro and he gets the glory. Now, if I try to say, well, I want to go to this city council meeting and I want to become mayor, that would change everything.
Right.
God make me mayor. And he says, no, I got to be fine with that. Even though I'm in my mind, I think me being mayor would be beneficial to everybody. But that's me thinking.
right.
I could get in that mayor seat and just tear the whole city up and we all be destroyed.
And you know what? This was me thinking at the same time. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I understand.
So, anything else?
Nah, you did a phenomenal job answering my questions. I appreciate it.
Thanks. And we can talk anytime. As always.
Thank y'all for listening.
As always. Kampai.
Kampai.